Good evening. The British oil and gas company BP will close its fuel taps at South Africa's major airports. The firm says this is part of its current global business strategy. Earlier this year, the airports company South Africa told Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Transport about its plans for a new refuelling process. That policy would see oil companies only supplying the fuel, while a new independent operator would manage the facilities on Axis' behalf. BP will stop selling aviation fuel at OR Tambo International, Cape Town International and King Shaka Airport by the end of April. It will stop refuelling at the East London and George airports later this month. Meanwhile, the state-owned PetroSA says it's stepping in to provide fuel to the regional airports in George and East London. We're joined now by Perrin Jwaai, Executive for Business Development at PetroSA. Perrin, good evening to you. I have to start with the obvious question. Do we know why BP made this decision? It seems to have come as a surprise to most people.
Good afternoon, Stephen. Good afternoon, everyone. I will not know why BP is making that decision. I think BP is best to answer that question. It is in their best interest to do that. So,
okay. I presume the inference is going to be that it's something to do with Ukraine, but we'll keep putting questions to them. They're not saying at the moment. How difficult is it going to be for you to continue to provide fuel, to, in other words, make good the fuel supplies that BP used to provide? How difficult is that going to be?
As PetroSA, that won't be difficult for us because we have been managing bulk fuel storage facilities for many years. To us, it's just an extension of the similar services that we provide in Mossel Bay, and we provide nationally in other regional areas where we own the bulk fuel storages.
Where do you get the fuel from?
We have trading arrangements with the majors in South Africa, and we have trading arrangements with the oil traders that are present in the region. And again, we have strategic partnerships with the international refiners as well. So we have quite a vast pool of people where we can source the fuel.
So some of the fuel that you could source might well come from BP. Have I understood that correctly?
Well, they're still providing the fuel in South Africa, in the Southern African region. Yes, that is possible. At the same time, we buy from the other oil majors again in South Africa at the same time.
So what I'm trying to understand, Perrin, is that they're not going to be selling fuel directly to airlines at airports, but they will be selling fuel to you. So some of their fuel could end up in these aeroplanes anyway, just going through you. Would that be the right way to understand it?
That is possible. As PetroSA, and again as a participant in the oil trading business, we do buy from other counterparties all over South Africa, and we do swaps as well, where we share volumes where we need them. So you are absolutely right. It is possible that might be so.
A lot's going on in your business at the moment. I don't need to tell you that. You know that a lot better than I do. Is it actually difficult to source supplies at the moment? Where I'm going with this is clearly BP's decision. As you say, they haven't stated why they've made this decision, but this may not be the end of the process. Are you at all concerned for fuel supplies for airlines?
For the airlines, yes, there is that risk, and it exists. We see fuel shortages not only in South Africa, actually, and in international as well, especially when you're talking about the Jet A1 supply. There is a little bit of a shortage internationally. So our function is to make sure that South Africa has enough flows of jet so that the airliners can able to plan accordingly and able to service the local industry and the sectors as well. Because we do understand that when it comes to aviation business, it supports mainly the tourism sector, which we don't want that sector to shrink in any form. So we are stepping in particularly for that purpose, to make sure that South Africa is in a good space where people can go freely.
Is that going to get more and more difficult, do you think?
PetroSA's goal is not to make it more difficult, but to make it a little bit easier so that it can bring stability right across. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that. My question to you, is it getting more difficult to source supplies of fuel? We understand what's going on around the world. We understand energy prices are very, very high. You yourself have said that there is an issue with jet fuel at the moment. Are you worried that the supplies are actually going to get a bit tighter?
I do not have that crystal ball, but we are working with the international players to get the supply consistently. There is enough competition, or there is a competition right across the country for the same products in any way. But they are planning scheduled right across the spectrum to supply us adequately.
There's quite a lot of infrastructure needed to move fuel around. It's got to be done very carefully. There are pipelines, there are tanks at different places. So BP will no longer be supplying some of the airports at the end of the month and then some in April. Are you going to be able to either take over that infrastructure or ensure that you have enough of your own infrastructure to deal with all of that? You're not expecting any problems during the transition, is my question.
That's what we are planning right now when you are referring to the two regional airports. And we are up and ready to take them over from the 1st of April. And we are ready actually to go even nationally to assist where the company is moving out. So we are talking to airport companies in South Africa in such a way that, there is no disruptions that is seen and can be felt by the people of South Africa. So from our side, we are ready. We have a team that works right across, and we are ready to go.
Perrin Jwaai, thank you. Executive for Business Development at PetroSA.